Hello, everyone. Welcome back to As Told by Zink with your host, Samantha. I'm in studio today with Pua. Pua, how are you?
So good, Samantha. Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful to be here.
Yes, I'm so happy that you're here too. I'm really excited about this episode. So I actually found you. I stalked you out on Instagram by accident because I'm a new remedy place goer and you do sound healing there.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Remedy is so close to my heart because they have so many amazing offerings, and I've been doing sound baths there for about a year now. And I swear everyone that I meet there and every tech remedy that I've done there has really just brought me closer to myself and has just helped me feel so much better. So I'm grateful I get to do sound baths there and I get to work with the people that I work with there because it's an amazing place. And thank God for Remedy for introducing me to you.
I mean, the power of social media, truly. If anybody in LA posts a wellness thing, I will do said wellness thing. Take all my money.
Say less and I'm there. If it has wellness in it, I'm doing it.
That's how I find out about all the cool spots is people just posting on social media. And so now that I've gone to Remedy Place, I took my boyfriend and we did oxygen chamber and then we did the ice bath. I suppose the breath work that I skipped out on would have been with you. So I'm such a bummer, but I will be back.
No, they have specialized breathwork practitioners there who have techniques for the ice baths. I usually just stick to sound while I'm there.
Oh, I didn't even know that was an option.
Yeah. And it depends probably what you're looking for. They're so great where they're able to really tailor their experience to whatever your individual needs are. But I do recommend the breath work with the ice bath. I couldn't do it without it. So like you are strong-willed to be able to do an ice bath without breath work.
Girl, I did not get in all the way. I was quite literally like, it was like under the boobs. That was it.
Tough.
My boyfriend was fully submerged. You know, men,
they're all in.
Yeah, they're all in.
Yeah, it's different for women too, I think, depending on the time of month you are and what's going on internally of just like listening to your body and doing what's best for you. So I love that you did that.
But I do love sound baths, and I want to back it up a little bit. Let's start from the beginning. I did a little research on you. I know I always do the research, and I feel like I'm a stalker. So you were born in California, moved to Hawaii, and was essentially like raised in Hawaii.
Yeah, so my life story is pretty unique, and I'm so blessed to be able to have been raised in so many amazing places, Hawaii being one of them. And at that time, too, I honestly don't have a lot of memory because I was training so much to do gymnastics. And at that time, that's all I knew. I was homeschooled and spending 50 plus hours in the gym. So saying that as an adult, I'm like, how did I do that? That doesn't feel real. But it was because I experienced it. And my athletic journey is what brought me away from the island. So when I was about 8 or 9, I moved to Ohio and then Missouri and started training all across the country and eventually moved to Texas by myself for 2 years. I was living with a host family there and excelling in my career, but definitely a wild journey, and it brought me back to Missouri where my family stayed and ended up getting a scholarship to go to UCLA and then have been in California ever since.
That's crazy. Yeah, gymnasts, and I think anybody who's put in something like dance, I'm like blanking on the word.
Gymnastics.
Gymnastics. I'm like gymnasium.
Yeah.
I brain fog coming with the eclipse, I guess. I've had it all day.
It's a lot.
Yeah, there's not enough Celsius in the world to clear it. And even like skiers, it's like that's your life. You dedicate everything to the sport. So I can only imagine like you just like getting all the way to that point of UCLA and just giving like your like, so then what did life look like after that? Did you sort of want to remove yourself from who you once were and like I guess get to know yourself again?
Yes.
Like, who am I? What do I like? Just sort of starting over.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a big process of life and getting to know myself, especially with life after sport. And I think because I knew I saw it coming, and especially for gymnasts, the trajectory of our career isn't as long as other professional sports. So I knew that after college I would be done. And throughout that period of junior and senior year, I really started to understand what I was passionate about and what I thought felt best for me at that time. And I remember one of my teammates, Samantha Pezic, she posted something on her Instagram and was like, find your small happiness and make that your career. And at the time, like, I just loved real estate and homes and being an entrepreneur. So I started an internship with Denise Freed, who works with Compass, and she's the one that really introduced me to the world of real estate my junior year of college. And
Wow.
because I was able to start building my career while finishing my athletic career, I do feel like that really helped me transition from the athlete to career Pua. And it was so wild because I feel like although I was in a different environment, I was still experiencing a lot of the same like traumas that I was growing up and throughout my sport. And I'm so grateful for the pandemic because it really allowed me the space to just understand how or what role I was playing in my own suffering. And all of the patterns and the behaviors and the thoughts and beliefs that I needed to really look at and rewire and let go of so I could step into this new way of being, because I no longer had to live in survival mode to make it through my career like I used to. So it was just such a rebirthing period of getting to know myself outside of this overachiever, people-pleasing, perfectionist person, and understanding like what I actually liked and who I actually was and what I wanted to do with my life and for the world around me. So it's definitely been a journey, but I would say my wellness and spiritual journey has helped guide me to where I am now, and it's been the foundation of just getting to know myself again.
Yeah. Well, that's so awesome that you are so in tune with, I guess, yourself, that you knew that you wanted to go into real estate after. You know, I feel like some people have that in-between period of being like so stuck, like, wait, do I even like anything? Am I passionate about anything? And you just sort of like, kind of found the answer in silence.
Yeah,
And
I
you were
mean-
like, I love homes and real estate sounds exciting, and it is exciting, and you were connected with one of the best out there. Compass is huge, so you were in great hands to have that like real life experience.
Oh, completely. It was so divinely guided and divinely supported, and it's telling, and the people that I've been able to work with and what I've been able to do and all the careers I've been part of. I feel like I'm already on my third career and I'm not even 30.
Yeah. Well, you're doing cool things now. I mean, when I was looking into you, I was like, wow, this girl's life right now, very cool.
Oh, it's such an active life. I'm so grateful. And all the time I have moments of like little Pua coming up and just overwhelmed with emotion because I can't believe I'm living the life that I am now. But I worked so hard to get here. So I think it's just being present in it, settling in it, and then also just like being so grateful for what I get to experience and knowing that those dark times that I went through, that light that I was able to build within myself is what led the way to get me here.
And a pattern too is in all of these instances, from living with a host family to doing such a highly competitive sport to moving all over and real estate, you are always out of your comfort zone. And I think that is the coolest thing.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, that was just part of the journey. And I'm grateful that I was able to learn a lot of hard life lessons as a child, which also like had to grieve my childhood because I never really had one. But as an adult, understanding that those really important lessons are key to everything that I'm doing now. And now that I know what I know now, I really can let my inner child back out again and do things for her in a way that feels fulfilling and is safe and expansive and loving, and start the reparenting process of taking care of myself while also building a future and career and business that's in alignment with my true self.
Yeah. And I guess the big question here is, how did we get into the spiritual side of things? I want to say Hawaii. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Hawaii itself is just such a spiritual place. It's the most magical place in the world. But I am a firm believer that we are a spiritual being having a human experience. And even since childhood, I feel like I've always just been tapped in. And throughout life and throughout sport, it definitely like disconnected me as I had to show up for all the things that I'm doing. But without even knowing it, I was still having all these different spiritual practices that I would rely on. And even in my gymnastics career, my junior year of college or high school, I was dealing with back pain for years, and at that point I knew I was going to UCLA. I wanted to make sure my body was in the best possible condition that it could be for me to go there, and getting my back looked at was something I knew that needed to be done. So when I did, I actually found out that my back was broken.
What?
And my L5 S1 vertebrae slipped out of place 20%. And they told me I could get a surgery and have a metal rod in my spine, and it would take me a year to recover. I couldn't walk for a couple months, and it would be a really big deal. So, or I could not get the surgery, wear a back brace, take some time off, and see if that helped. I was like, say less, I'm not going to get the surgery. At that time, I had teammates who had a similar back injury, because it's pretty common in our sport. And they did get the surgery and were still in pain. So I was like, if I'm going to be in pain either way, I might as well just not get the surgery. And that's when I really started to tap into visualization and meditation and understanding my own mind-body connection. So throughout that period, I took time off. I did a lot of internal work, and I needed to find a way how I could train my body without doing the physical work, and my only answer to that was training my mind. So I was able to take a break, get back into the gym world, go to UCLA, and my training from that point forward was much different. But I knew that because of my spiritual practices, which I didn't even know were spiritual at the time, I was just doing what intuitively felt right for me. It really helped me get through my career. And by the time I was a senior too, I wasn't even really able to train. I was only doing one event, and that was vault. So that's what it was. And I made it work, and I was able to finish my career as an All-American on the only event I really did.
That's
and
amazing.
as a national champion with my team. So I think it really just shows you how powerful the mind can be. And once you understand your own mind-body connection, how you're able to use that for your benefit.
Wow. So now, like, just through meditation and visualization, all of that stuff, you holistically healed yourself.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say like my spine is back in place. Like
my back you're magic.
Literally, I'm this superpower. No, my back is still broken. And I'm not doing the type of impact that I used to. So the pain management is a lot different now, where yoga is helpful, and I still meditate and visualize. But at the time, that was something and a tool that I used just to help me feel better.
And I know a lot of people have pain, and especially with their back. And it actually blows my mind that every sport really comes with a price, which is wild. Because I hear it more and more the older I get, and I'm like, oh, just everyone just goes into these sports to injure themselves. And
kind of toxic.
Or, you know, like football with them having like the brain injury. Yeah, I'm like,
it's a real issue.
People
insane. Need to talk about it.
It needs to be people need to be educated before going into it, I think. I don't have a connection with it, but I'm sure that resonates with you really well. But so if people out there, I guess, you know, we don't have to like go through it super in depth, but what did your like visualizing look like? Like, what did that practice look like?
Yeah. And I think that there are so many ways to do it, and it's so important to try on all the different ways to find which way works best for you, because it's not a one size fit all.
Yeah.
And for me, there were different ways that I did it, and you could either be like visual or feeling or seeing or even hearing. So when I would close my eyes and see me do my routine, sometimes when I would picture myself doing it, I would picture myself falling on my head or crashing. And like that did not work for me because it made me way more scared and gave me so much anxiety.
Yeah.
But once I started to feel myself doing the skills and the routines and knowing what it would feel like in my body is when I was able to visualize and feel and manifest that in real life.
Yeah.
So I think just closing your eyes and experimenting with what works best for you, whether it's you picturing yourself doing what you want to do or you envisioning what that feeling may be like before you go or before you're doing or when you accomplish whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, and then just understanding intuitively what feels best for you.
Can you visualize, like, for some reason, what's coming up for me is broken back. I'm visualizing like almost like a spine aligning.
Oh, I
Is
did that all
practice?
the time.
Okay.
And I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm just like in my bed, in my room at night, like trying to do all these different things. And intuitively too, each meditation I go into, it's very intuitive where I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen, but things are going to happen. And it was in those meditation sessions and visualization sessions too, where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I can see my spine and I'm just going to visualize myself realigning my spine.
Yes. Okay.
I swear I would do it and my body would like twitch in all these weird ways. And I'm like, I don't even know what's going on, but we're doing it. I would do it in breathwork sessions. I would do it in deep meditation session. Oh my gosh, can't talk.
You and I both, girl. We just will gibberish our way through this podcast.
Literally, we got this. Yeah, but so many different ways, and yeah.
Okay, amazing. And also for those out there interested in like visualization, said it correctly. You can visualize anything that you're trying to manifest. And I've been doing this for years. Girl, in my early 20s, I would like listen to my like YouTube like meditations of welcoming love. And like you could almost like visualize your soulmate. That's the one I would do. I'd always be
all
like,
the time.
You're walking towards him and like he's coming.
Literally.
It is a little weird to say, but I think it works.
100%. And that's how I know what's for me is because immediately what I feel intuitively. Like you just know. And I've done so many meditations, like dream life meditations and like career meditations and soulmate meditations and some people don't like to do that because they're like, I'd rather not know. But for those who want to know, like do it, because you can tap in and ask your higher self to guide this whole process and you will be shown what you need to see. And of course things adjust as we live life and there's free will and the timelines change, but for this very moment right now, what I'm visioning and what I'm able to see in my meditation, I want to be able to know what that energy is going to feel like, and I want to be able to recognize it when it comes to me. So for me, like those dream life or soulmate meditations are important so I can already feel familiar with what I want and to have that clarity to know what to look for. Because if I know in my mind and I can envision it clearly, then I know subconsciously I'm going to adjust and act as if.
Yeah. And it takes a long time. A lot of people come to me and they're like, it just seems like you have everything together, like everything figured out. And I'm like, because I've been meditating since before meditating was cool. Like, it was 2013, I was meditating not with my crystals while you were partying. Like, I'm a work in progress. This is not something that happened overnight. I'm like, I've been working on my soulmate, my career, my life, my dreams for a decade now.
Literally. It's a practice and it's a consistent practice too. And I think people don't always see what goes on behind the scenes or what goes on behind closed doors, because especially if you look at my Instagram, it's such a highlight reel of all of the cool things that I'm doing, which is true, but people don't always show what's going on underneath the surface, and sometimes it's really heavy and it's really dark, and it takes that work and that meditation practice to really have such a full spectrum experience for those special times to really mean even more, and to really understand that we're all human. None of us have it together, but we're trying our best to incorporate these different wellness practices that make life more doable.
I mean, the more I talk about it, I always try to say, like, well, the journey, enjoy the journey. You always end up coming out of the lows, and to really just find beauty in the tragedies. I try to, like, obviously people are like, yeah, right. And, like, if they're in the moment, they're like
Fuck
absolutely not. Like, my life is
Fuck that,
crumbling.
fuck
But I'm like, the reason you're going through this right now, and I know you're not going to believe me, but it's because, like, you're going to get something beautiful out of it. Like, the universe knows that you're strong enough to handle this, and you have to go through this in order to welcome what's meant for you. It's just part of your journey. To your point that we're all just beings on this crazy earth that some people consider hell, actually. Not going to get all, we're not going to dive in there.
Yeah, it's totally both.
Yeah.
It's heaven and hell, and it's all dependent on what's going on internally, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, we can go through the darkest times too and know that, like, sure, at the other end of this is the light. But I also think it's so important to really feel those dark times, because when we suppress and bypass those hard moments, we miss the lessons. And instead, we hold on and we carry more emotion that wasn't able to be released or fully expressed. And of course, there's healthy ways to cope and to express, and I think having those in place is so important, so you're not projecting any of those emotions onto other people while you're going through hard times. But one of my favorite breathwork practitioners on the West Side, she has this saying that life is not about feeling good, it's about getting good at feeling.
Oh, I
and
love that.
It just puts things into perspective that it's okay to go through dark times, because they're just emotions. And although life is real and it's a lot, knowing that an emotion is the worst thing that you're going to feel in life, and that it's not a forever thing and you're going to evolve, sometimes just helps make those dark times better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And to sort of go back to, like, breath work and sound baths, if somebody is going through, I guess there's so much. I've been talking a lot about mental health lately. It's like, just, I don't know why. It's just like,
it's present.
Yes, it's just all over. I can't ignore it. And so if there's people listening to this podcast and they have panic attacks or mental health issues, depression, anxiety, I could go on forever. How can a sound bath or breath work help them get out of that place? I had somebody on and he loves doing the cold plunges.
Dom.
Yeah, Dom, yes.
Yeah.
Dom.
So much love.
Shout out to you, Dom. That was so cute, Dom.
Yeah.
And he was in such a dark place and started doing the cold therapy, and he felt like that was a huge
Catalyst
getting him out of that dark space. And I was like, I had no idea. So educate me, because you know all things sound bath, breath work, all of the things, holistic healing.
Yeah.
If people are listening and they're going through it and they feel like there's no, like, they cannot get out of this craziness.
Yeah.
How can
real.
these practices help them, and like what can they really like expect as a result from them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, there's no one size fits all.
Yes,
so
of course.
It's trying on the different practices and seeing which one works best for you. And as I mentioned with my own story, that when life is lifing, your sympathetic nervous system turns on, which is the fight or flight, and you're in survival mode. Autopilot is present, and you're doing what you have to do to get through the day and to do all the things that you need to do. But living in survival mode is exhausting, because when we're in survival mode, there are key parts of the body that turn off, like the lymphatic system, the digestive system, the logical thinking part of our brain. We truly do not function at an optimal state. So the reason why wellness practices like sound baths or breath work or meditation is so important, because it brings you out of the sympathetic nervous system into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest. And that's the state that our body needs to be in to heal on a deep level. And another thing that's special about meditation or sound meditation is it helps you reach a theta brainwave state. So usually in our day-to-day, we're in the beta brainwave state, which is just when we're busy, when we're working, when we're doing things. But that theta brainwave state is the state we're in right before bed or right when we wake up. and it's that subconscious state. So it's an amazing place to rewire your brain, create new neural pathways, and to look at your subconscious from a different perspective. During my sound baths, I mean, it's a different experience for everyone, but sometimes people have past life regressions or just random memories from childhood come up, or things that they forgot about, and it sometimes brings up those same emotions as it did back then in a different way because you're looking at it from a third perspective. And what happens during this period is people are able to look at those times from their conscious perspective as the subconscious is resurfacing itself, and either learn from it or let it go. And it's deep subconscious work that happens during these sessions, and when you're in that theta brainwave state, it helps you do that even easier. So the instruments that I have help enhance that brainwave state, and that's why you're able to feel better after a sound bath, is because it's influencing the body's natural vibration, your brainwave states, and activating the parasympathetic nervous system. So you really can heal without your internal body just overworking, trying to keep you alive.
And so if you're doing this, I mean, it depends on the person, but if somebody is just really going through it, would you recommend a few times a week, once a week?
Yeah. I mean,
Or
the
just
more the
feel it
better.
out?
Yeah. You know, consistency is key to this because it's a muscle. And I think meditation can feel so intimidating sometimes because people have a hard time quieting their mind. And meditation is not always about quieting the mind. Sometimes it's just observing the mind and knowing that you're not your thoughts, you're the observer of them, and just understanding what your thoughts are trying to show you and to tell you, because our thoughts are connected to our body. So when our nervous system is in a heightened state, the intrusive thoughts are going to intrude and they're going to feel a lot more real. The emotions are going to feel heightened, and it's just an exhausting way to live. So just getting yourself back to that parasympathetic nervous system is so helpful.
Yeah, and so I want to talk about my experience, which I wish it's a better story than it is. I've done a lot of sound baths, love it. I am like the spiritual girly, but when I lay there and I have I don't know about my past life, but current life, younger, trauma, tragedy, all of the things, where I do feel like I'm in a great place now, but you're never like fully healed, right? So
It's a journey.
when I do a sound bath, I feel like I don't really have the same experience, where I'm like, I wish I had a deeper experience. Sometimes, I mean, I'm a businesswoman, so sometimes it's like I finally am off my phone and
it's
calm.
like the overachiever of like, I want the most out of this experience too. I
Well,
think.
that too, but sometimes I'm thinking my to-do list. I'm like,
The mind
okay,
is
I need
still
dog food,
active.
vet, meeting, and then I'm like, no, Samantha, go back.
We're here. Be here now.
Yeah, like go back to where you came here. And I want to know if other people are out there with meditating sound baths and they just can't get that deep. Do you have any
Yes.
tips or tricks?
I think honestly, just dropping the expectations of what you think it's supposed to be and just allowing it to be what it is.
Yeah.
And again, it's just recreating your relationship with your thoughts and your mind, and knowing that you're not your mind, and detaching yourself from that. So just knowing like, okay, if my mind is all over the place today, like clearly as I'm observing, then maybe it's not a good day to focus in on this one project because my energy needs to be spent in these different areas. And it's really just a guide for you.
Yeah.
And knowing intuitively what feels best for you, and that it's okay if your mind is all over the place, because you don't have to have these crazy past life regressions or downloads of this new script or movie you're gonna write. It can be just like,
I want that though. I was just wanting somebody to come in and speak to me, and I want to wake up in class and cry and have something to say. I'm just
yeah, I know. And honestly, sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't. And either way, whatever you get from the session is what it's supposed to be. And I also think it's a muscle that you have to build. And if you are able to, like, the energy you put into it is the energy you get out of it. And when you start to build a muscle to like really go deep within and to start to activate the third eye and your internal world, it is a whole different place. But I think you even having this practice and being on your journey is enough, more than enough. Sometimes people don't have to have the past life regressions for it to be meaningful. Like, you just taking time to unplug and show up for yourself, especially as a business owner, is meaningful enough.
Yeah, I definitely think like, well, obviously the universe would know if I'm meant to like have a moment.
If you need to see those things, like you'll see them when you need to see them, if you need to see them.
I think the universe just knows that I'm very like, I always have to keep myself together in public. So the universe is probably like, I know Samantha's not trying to wake up from this crying in front of all these strangers.
We're going to do her a favor.
Oh my God, yeah.
She's just going to relax today.
Like, we know her too well. Like, she doesn't want to cry in front of all these people.
Let her be.
We'll come in other ways. This is just her like unplugging moment and clearing the energy.
And it's supposed to be relaxing.
Yeah.
I always remind people, like, just be. It doesn't have to be this extraordinary experience. Like, take a nap.
Oh, and you always hear like, the one person like snoring and you're like, Greg, why do you have to ruin it for everybody?
That's why I always tell people it's okay to give a love tap. This is your experience too.
There's always one. It's because we're always tired and it's like the end of day and we're like
every time.
Yeah, I was like, I had a facial the other day and I was like going in and out of sleep. I'm like, stay awake. Literally. But I did this one sound bath and before it started, I hated doing this. We had to like pick like a stranger in the class and stare into their eyes for like 5 minutes.
Wait, what did you think of it?
I hated it.
And
every minute of it.
Were you?
I was in Venice. I'm not going to disclose names.
Okay.
I love the girl who hosted. I'm friends with her.
I've done this. I know exactly what
but
you're
I don't
about.
want to connect with this straight. I just was, and you know that is work that I need to.
Did you do it with a guy or a girl?
Well, you know, I kind of cheated because I was so nervous and chose someone I knew.
Okay.
I can't lie.
Okay.
I'm only human.
Of course.
But but everyone else went with strangers and swapped the sexes. Like guys went with girls and I was just like, I am not comfortable. Like I feel naked.
The eye gazing?
I mean, that's like the point is to like be your raw, authentic self with a stranger.
Yeah. It's not easy. Oof. The first time I did that too, I was like, what is happening?
You feel naked, right?
I was like, what am I doing right now? Like, can I just walk away? Like, should I walk away? Yeah. But I didn't. And I also noticed the eye gazing exercise is very different when I do it with men versus women.
Yeah.
I go a lot deeper when I'm with women, where men, I just feel like there's walls, which is interesting, but that's another topic. But when I've done it with women, I've seen some crazy things. Like I actually met like one of my best friends and like soon to be business partners through eye gazing.
Wow.
Yeah. So I love it, but it's wild.
I'm scared.
It is scary.
She said that, and I was like, can I just like walk out? Like, I couldn't think of something I'd rather do.
They don't tell you that you're doing it because you probably wouldn't go, and then you start it, and you're like trying not to laugh.
I was just like, did I really just hear that I need to do this exercise? And yeah, it almost just felt like. I don't know. It seems so crazy. So what is like, if you are doing that, and I do recommend people doing it because obviously me not being able to do it means I need to work on that part of myself clearly.
If you want to.
But what do you think that does? Like, what is the end result of eye gazing?
I mean,
I have chills thinking, and I have high anxiety thinking about it.
I mean, I believe that your eyes are the window to the soul.
Yeah.
And you can really feel and connect through looking in people's eyes, especially when you do it intentionally. The way that they do it is so intentional and it's guided, so you're able to do it, but also it is such an interesting, unique experience. I think for me, the biggest takeaway I got from it was just connection, both to the person I did it with and to myself. I was able to just like see a lot of things through my third eye when I did it, and it was different for every person I did it with, but I received information that I shouldn't have known about that person in the best way.
Oh my God.
I don't know how to explain that because it sounds crazy, I know, But I did experience that, so I know it's real again. And I think, again, like there are so many different ways to do things, and if that's not your vibe, that's okay. But being open is really good, and I was open when I did it, and I've done it a couple times since then. So it was good, but I feel like the biggest thing is just connection to self and to the people around you.
So I mean, maybe it's a great thing to do with your partner, just to
I love
get
doing it
a
with my
bit
boyfriend.
closer.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And in different forms too. It's such a way to connect without verbal or physical contact.
Yeah.
Unless you want the verbal and physical too. Like you can do whatever you want, really. Whatever feels best for you.
Yeah, it's like everyone doing like first dates, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to like eye gaze?"
This is how I'll know you're for me. Is your energy
like
off
before
or no?
we get any further, would you like to gaze into my soul? I mean, I just like, oh my God, my anxiety is just because I do feel like a closed off person in that sense. Not like I'm open, but I'm closed. I think if it's a stranger, I could do it with like people I know all day, but like to open yourself up to somebody that doesn't know you seems very scary.
And it's so weird because it's like you're just looking at them. And I think the biggest part of it too is just to like feel seen.
Yeah.
I think as like my own experience being a woman growing up, I've always just been like, don't take up too much space. Like, do whatever I need to do to make the other people around me feel good. And don't look at me. I'm just going to do my own thing. And to have someone like really look at you, it feels weird.
I know, it's like not even a serious thing, and then it's like the most scary thing like you could ever do.
And when someone's just looking at you.
And then there's some people that are just so easy breezy about it, and I'm like, good for you. You know, that's a strong human right there.
It's a lot to see and be seen.
Yeah,
it's a practice for me. I don't do it that often, but
girl, I do not blame you. I was like, well, I'm not going to another sound bath again. She invited me to another one. She's like, don't worry, we're not doing the eye gazing. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll come.
You have to come to one of my sound baths. There are no eye gazing for
mine. Thank God, because that was like a one and done for me. So I love talking about people's soul purposes.
Yes.
For me personally, I keep thinking that I find my soul purpose, and I find something else that it's just stepping stones. I realized like what I thought was a soul purpose was a stepping stone to my soul purpose. I don't even think I fully am there yet.
We're still evolving.
Yes, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Obviously you don't have to disclose, but with holistic healing and the sound baths, do you feel like with your clients healing from those, and do you have any like special stories that you're like, I feel like my soul purpose on earth through this?
Yeah, I mean, same with you. I feel like each phase of life, I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. And then I grow and I change and I evolve, and I'm like, actually, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Like, what is it?
Like, I don't even know what I'm doing at any point, too. Like, I'm just doing it. Yeah. Kind of. Intentionally, of course, with like the most love and education as I can get. But I think that intuitively, I've always had this inner knowing, too, that everything that I've done has always been bigger than me. And a stepping stone, like you said, to get me to that next phase, and knowing that each part of this phase is so crucial for me to learn and understand and evolve and really create the structure and foundation for all of the things that I'm building, which is not just going to happen overnight. Yeah. So it's so hard to even pinpoint my own purpose and mission, although for the last couple of weeks I actually have been like rebranding and coming up with my mission statement of what that truly is, because I know that I've always felt so passionate about just helping people feel better and doing it through holistic wellness. So I think for right now, my mission is just to help people optimize their well-being through holistic wellness. But I know over time that's going to adjust. I feel like I am so multidimensional and I have so many different passions, and I trust that as time goes on, that's going to evolve. But I think just leaning into what feels aligned with me in each moment is what I trust, because I know that it has gotten me here and I have a proven track record for it to work out. So just continuing to build the trust with that I don't have to know exactly what it is, but I am starting to build the vision for it, and I'm taking the steps every day to get there, whatever it may be.
Yeah. I mean, I love hearing that from you, because it's like, obviously you're healing people, you're helping people. You would think like, okay, this is my sole purpose. I'm helping, I'm healing. What more could I do? But you are a very intuitive person. So you're like, maybe this is a stepping stone of like what I need to be doing right now in my journey. But there's something bigger out there for me, especially because you're so young.
Yeah. And a new entrepreneur too. So I feel like I wear so many different hats, and I love being an entrepreneur, and I know that the spaces that I'm trying to create, I want them to be inclusive and accessible and sustainable, and everything that I'm building now, it's going to take time and work, and if my athletic career taught me anything, it's that it takes consistent work and almost 15 years to really hit the pinnacle of your career. And not that things can't be done differently or fast track, because of course they can. I just think that my path for this hasn't been created yet. And I'm figuring it out as I go. And I'm so grateful that I get to work alongside of and meet such amazing souls along the way, because without that, this wouldn't be worth it. But it's all led me to where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. I mean, LA is, especially you. Okay,
LA.
So I know everyone is like doing cool things here. It blows my mind, because I don't know if this is like a new thing or if LA's always been like this. I'm from New York, and it's like corporate. Yeah. And then I came to LA, and like everyone just has their own job, like their
We're
own
all
business.
Self-employed.
Yeah. I'm just like, wow, so cool. But right now you're doing the sound baths at a lot of really cool places.
Thank you.
So Remedy Place, and what other places are you doing them at?
Yeah, so I'm also at Equinox.
Okay, Equinox. Okay, you're like the coolest girl. You probably meet insane people.
Equinox has the best community.
Yeah.
I swear, I've met the coolest people there, and I'm there weekly too at all the different locations, and have really integrated myself into their community and have built my own little community within the sound baths that I do, and the people that I've been able to meet is just such a blessing. And I also think that like you are an extension or a reflection of all the people that you are surrounded by, and I'm so grateful that I attract the type of people that I do, because they truly are amazing. And if LA has showed me anything, it really is that it's such a mirror, and you can find whatever you're looking for here, because it is such a diverse place with so many different pockets and neighborhoods and vibes and energy.
Yeah.
But it's going to reflect what's going on internally. And until I did the inner work and really started to understand who I was and what I wanted to attract, and becoming conscious of that, I started to do that. And I get to see that in my sound baths of the type of people I work with. So Equinox is such an amazing community. I've done stuff with Still Life in Venice. I've done stuff on my own. I host events all over the city. I have an event on Sunday at Moss, which is a really cool co-working space in Venice.
It's called Moss?
Yeah, Moss Venice.
There's so much that I just don't even know.
Oh, I know. There's another place opening up to Hume that I plan to do events at. It's like I want to say it's like an Equinox / like Soho house, and I don't want to like get their branding incorrectly.
Yeah.
That's how you envision it, because it's a gym, it's a holistic wellness space, but it's also like a rooftop mocktail bar and an event space and a co-working space.
Oh my God, I love
and
that.
a social space. So it's like an everything space.
Wait, is that in West Hollywood?
That's High Mat.
Okay, thank you.
I love
There's so many
High Mat too.
like,
I know.
because I was gonna sign up for that one.
Oh, my friends go there. I'm not a member, but I go there with my friends, and it is the coolest place.
I just want to be a part of everything.
Same. I know. Literally. I'm like, can I do a sound bath for you so I can just be a member?
Girl, I mean, you're a great entrepreneur. Like, you just feel like, yeah, I love it.
It's a win-win for both of us.
Well, and plus you kind of like put the idea in their head and they're like, oh, wait, that's a great idea. We should offer sound baths.
But yeah, I mean, especially at Equinox, I think that was so divinely planned too and divinely timed with, I was at this random on a Tuesday, self-employed, co-working with my friends, and someone's like, oh, you do sound baths? I know the Equinox manager. I was like, oh, can I have their email? I emailed them, did not go through. And I'm like, dang, maybe it's not meant to be, but I'm like, of course it is. This gave me the idea that it was. So all I have to do is figure it out. I called them. I got like 4 manager emails. It was that easy at 4 different locations. I emailed them that day. I got a response back and they're like, it's so crazy that you reached out. We actually had the first ever sound bath audition today.
What?
And they're like, one person didn't show up. Can you make it next week?
Wow, that's crazy. Like, it really was divine. I mean,
yeah, it was.
And they chose you.
Yeah,
you
and
won.
At that point, there was like 4 of us there. And now it's at so many different locations. I don't even know how many healers there are now because it's really grown in the last couple years. But it's cool to be at the forefront of these movements and to work with such great companies. Like I've done stuff with Amazon and UCLA Athletics and the Chargers and Nobu.
The Chargers? The players?
There were a couple of players.
I would love to be like a fly in the room. They do gymnastics too, right? Or they do ballet, dance.
Oh, I'm not
like,
sure.
Some players do like Pilates.
Like I'm sure. Yeah. They have all their practices that they do on the side.
Yeah.
Me and my best friend were like trying to keep it together.
That's so funny.
It was such an amazing experience. And I think too, it just is telling that how needed this is in so many different spaces and how people are really starting to look at wellness as a tool and a resource to feel better and to be better at all of the things that they're doing in life. Yeah. So I'm grateful I get to do it all these different companies and places.
Absolutely. And I think that it also speaks to you being a businesswoman. I mean, because you put yourself in front of all of these people as well. Because you could be a healer and just be like, you know what, everything will come to me. And I will just sort of like wait or be connected or like work at this one place. For you, it's like you're putting yourself out there. You are like getting out of your comfort zone. And I mean, that's a huge part of you working with all of these cool names and places and people. So kind of just coming from like that side of things, is there any advice that you would give somebody who maybe is starting something to get their name out there, to get more jobs, clients, because you do an amazing job at it?
Thank you. Honestly, it's just execute. Don't get in your head about it. It's so easy to want to stay in a position that feels safe and comfortable, but if you truly feel passionate about something, just do it. And I think, just do it. Just execute. Don't get in your head about it.
That's my piece of advice too. Because I mean, every amazing thing that I've done in my life, I literally just kind of like felt it and then did it. And then great things happened.
Totally.
And I was like, wow. That's kind of the secret sauce, right?
I know. And we can manifest as much as we want to and visualize and see all the things. But if you're not taking the aligned action, it's a lot harder to make it happen.
Yeah.
And you also have to show the universe that you're ready by stepping into those spaces and embodying that version of yourself. So the universe can be like, oh, look, she's already doing it here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love it. It's that simple, people. Literally the action, just do it.
Yeah, embody
Nike
it.
said it best.
Yeah, just do it. And I think internal work too is so important, and embodiment practice, your own like self-worth is super important, because I think a lot of people have this belief like just because you're a good person or you like put in the work means that you're going to get what you want, but truly if you think you're worthy of it, you'll get it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you even think of like all of the big people that have like made it, right? Those like large names. And the craziest thing is like they always sort of knew that they were going to blow up. Like nothing,
100%.
There was no doubt in their mind. There's
Yes.
even this like story that there was this girl on TikTok, and she's like, my mom, like back in the day when before Bruce Willis was an actor, he had this like really shitty like apartment in New York City, and my mom was dating him before he was Bruce Willis, you know, and like he always told her like, I'm gonna be this famous actor, and she was like, yeah, all right, like, and like he just never had a doubt in his mind, and then his career took off, and he just like, you just know it.
Oh, belief is one of the
Yeah.
biggest parts too. Yeah.
It's like-
no matter what anyone else says or makes you feel, like if they make you feel some other way, they're probably not your people.
Yeah.
Or they have their own limiting beliefs they're projecting onto you, and that's their own problem. But I think just knowing if what you want and going after and getting it, so
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
It's like everybody who made it big just always knew.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
and
and
yeah, it's crazy.
Also, like the people who really are like the masters of their craft, like they're doing things differently. They're not doing what everyone else is doing. And I have this example of like I was at this dinner party the other day, and this guy was saying like, oh, I didn't have my first hangover until I was in college. And we're like, wow, that's crazy. Like you didn't drink in high school, all this stuff. But he also was a football player at Harvard. So of course he wasn't partying while he was in high school, because he was training and he
Yeah.
was working on school, and he was doing what he needed to do to be that small percentage of people to play Harvard at football. And I
Yeah.
think it just shows that if you want to do something different, then you have, or if you want to be something different, you have to do something different, and you have to do what other people aren't doing.
Yeah. And right now that is hard. So
Especially
I feel
with
like
social
everyone's
media.
done it all, especially in LA. Social media, LA, it's like, yeah, you really you have to
Yeah.
like think, or just stand out. Because obviously there's going to be a lot of like, you know, there's so many other people who are in
Doing this
healing
space, yeah.
or building community. And it's like,
Yes.
how is yours a little different? Because obviously we're going to like, you know, have a lot of like repetition in the
Yeah.
space and similar people. There's other talent agencies out there. But you know what? I don't like look into what they're doing. I hope they don't look into what I'm doing. And we just sort of like
Stay
are
in
on
your
our,
lane and keep.
There's enough room for everybody, right?
Exactly. And I think that's the abundant mindset too that needs to be shifted and talked about more too, because when you're in that scarcity mindset, it feels like there isn't enough.
Yeah.
And you realize that there's plenty of room for everyone. And just because there isn't a seat at that table doesn't mean you can't create your own.
Exactly. Well said.
Yeah.
And so as we end this podcast, I know you were kind of like hinting at like you doing something bigger with entrepreneurship. I would love to know like what you have going on. Let's speak it into existence and also just like bring awareness.
Thank you.
What is it? What's going on, girl?
So many things are going on as I navigate this insane journey, but I would love to eventually have a healing center. I literally have like a 7-year business plan and like of what I need to do each quarter.
We'll get
to
you
make
back in
this
7 years.
happen. Because I know that it's possible, and I know I wouldn't be having these thoughts or visions or ideas if they weren't meant for me. So that's where right now it's definitely just building community, getting back into the athletic space because there's so much to be done there, and working with corporate and different companies and partners as I get there. But I would love to really build not only an in-person sanctuary for people to come and feel better and use these holistic wellness practices, but also an online platform to make it more accessible for everyone and scalable, because I want this to be beneficial no matter where you are in the world, but I also want to be able to add value and to provide these tools that have helped change my life and helped evolve me as a human and helped me get to the places that I have been to. I feel like it's really just an extension of and like a sharing of my own story and an extension of my authentic self. And I think as long as I stay true to myself, that I will touch the souls who resonate with that.
Absolutely. And I know what's going to happen because I know you're already visualizing the heck out of it. What does it look like? What does it feel
I've
like?
already seen it, yeah.
No doubt in my mind that there's going to be a a sanctuary of sorts. And I'm sure you're nailing down all of the details.
Yeah, that's why I'm like learning how to be an entrepreneur now. The real estate will come in handy later.
Meeting the people.
Yeah.
You guys, take notes from this girl. Like, she is untouchable.
It's a lot. And also, I'm human. So, like, as proud of I am of myself, I'm still reminded that, like, I have so much to learn. The more I know, the less I know. And I am just getting started, and I'm making a lot of mistakes. As Samantha saw 2 days ago, I had to reschedule this because my schedule was so insane. And I literally was like, I am just going to dig a hole for myself, and I cannot get out of this hole because I'm the worst person ever for I had to cancel last minute.
Human.
It's like, I can't be here anymore. And then you texted me, and I was like, I'm okay.
Everything will go on. The show will go on.
It always does. But I think it's just a reminder that, like, I go through it too, and I don't let it stop me, and it's okay if it does, but I think once you find those coping mechanisms and those practices that really help you feel better, then it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, I agree. Well, you're very inspirational, and I'm excited to watch everything. And Brody and I will come to one of your classes. I promise.
You're welcome.
We're in our
anytime.
wellness spiritual era, so we'll be there at one of the spots.
Yes, come to Remedy, come to Equinox. Come
Yeah,
to
we have a lot of
events.
options.
Literally, come everywhere. I love having. I would love to have you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Until next time, y'all.